Sirens across 11 time zones in Russia. Screens flashing. Attention everyone! Moscow runs a nationwide civil defense drill. And on state TV, Britain is warned it could be completely destroyed in 2 months. Routine preparedness? Or Putin rehearsing for something far bigger? Russia conducted a nationwide civil defense drill on March 1st, as state media escalated rhetoric against the United Kingdom, amid heightened geopolitical tensions linked to the war in Ukraine, wider standoff with the West, and growing fears that Putin is laying the groundwork for World War III. According to Russia's emergencies ministry, warning sirens were tested across the country's 11 time zones in a late-morning alert drill. Authorities instructed citizens to remain calm and follow official guidance in the event of a real emergency.
The warning system is designed to promptly transmit a signal to the public in the event of a threat or emergency of natural or man-made origin. On hearing a siren, you must remain calm and not panic. Turn on the television, any public channel or radio, and listen to the informational announcement.
A TV show in Yekaterinburg halted its usual programming as an urgent notice popped up on screens across the country. It said,
"Attention everyone, the public alert system is being tested. Please remain calm."
The move comes after Ukrainian President Zelensky warned that Putin has already started World War III, stating,
"I believe that Putin has already started it. We're preventing it from becoming a broad, full-scale Third World War."
On state television, propagandist Vladimir Solovyov questioned the strength of the British military. "We just need to understand the size of the British army. How many do they have now?" Military analyst Andrei Klintsevich responded with an estimate of British troop numbers.
75,000, including those with fur hats and so on.
Solovyov then escalated the rhetoric, suggesting Russia could defeat British forces using conventional means.
That's 2 months of our work and it will be completely destroyed, using conventional methods.
Referring to potential British troop deployments linked to Ukraine, he added,
"This army will be worn down in 2 months. Even strikes with conventional weapons and a large number of coffins going to Britain will raise the question, what are you idiots doing? There are no logistics to deliver them there, nor anywhere to place them. They will be immediately destroyed by precision strikes."
The remarks targeted Prime Minister Keir Starmer and followed discussions in London about potential security roles in Ukraine. Russia maintains approximately 1.5 million military personnel, despite sustained losses in Ukraine. The warning drill and televised commentary together signal a continued effort by Moscow to project readiness and deterrence amid an increasingly confrontational international environment. Russia has issued a stark warning to Western nations, fueling fresh fears of a broader global confrontation as tensions between Moscow and NATO continue to escalate. In remarks reported by The Mirror, a senior Russian figure delivered a blunt message aimed at what he described as Western pigs, suggesting that any direct military clash between Russia and NATO powers would inevitably spiral into a Third World War. The rhetoric marks one of the most provocative public statements in recent months, as relations between Moscow and Western capitals remain deeply strained over Ukraine and wider security flashpoints.
World War III will undoubtedly begin if Donald Trump continues his insane course.
The warning comes against the backdrop of continued Western military support for Kyiv and heightened NATO activity along Russia's borders. Russian officials have repeatedly accused the United States and its European allies of waging a proxy war, while Western leaders insist their support is defensive and aimed at preserving Ukraine's sovereignty. According to the report, the Russian statement made clear that Moscow views any direct confrontation with NATO forces as crossing a red line. Medvedev, when asked if a world war has started, told TASS that,
"Formally no, but if Trump continues his insane course of criminal regime change, it will undoubtedly begin. And any event could be the trigger. Any event."
The remarks underscore a broader narrative promoted by the Kremlin that Russia is prepared to defend its interests by all available means. President Vladimir Putin has previously warned that Western involvement could lead to catastrophic consequences, including the possible use of nuclear weapons if Russia's territorial integrity is threatened. Western governments have sought to downplay the likelihood of a direct NATO-Russia war, emphasizing that the alliance does not seek confrontation. However, they have also reaffirmed their commitment to collective defense under Article 5 of the NATO Treaty, which states that an attack on one member is considered an attack on all. Military analysts caution that while such rhetoric is alarming, it is also part of a strategic messaging campaign. By invoking the spectre of World War III, Moscow may be aiming to deter deeper Western involvement and sow political division within Europe and North America. Still, the risks are real. With ongoing fighting in Ukraine, frequent missile exchanges, and expanded Western arms deliveries, the potential for miscalculation remains significant. Incidents involving drones, airspace violations, or naval encounters could quickly escalate if not carefully managed. Allegations from Moscow have raised fresh tensions over the war in Ukraine, with Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service claiming that Britain and France are preparing to secretly provide Kyiv with nuclear weapons. In a statement cited by the state news agency TASS, Russia's SVR alleged that London and Paris intend to disguise any transfer of nuclear capability as a domestic Ukrainian development.
British and French officials are considering the covert transfer of relevant European-made components, equipment and technologies to Ukraine, and are laying the groundwork for an information campaign that would misrepresent the nuclear capacity as domestically developed.
The SVR further claimed that France's TN-75 small-sized warhead, used on the M51.1 submarine-launched ballistic missile, is among the options under discussion. It also alleged that Ukraine could be encouraged to construct a so-called dirty bomb, a conventional explosive device laced with radioactive material intended to contaminate an area over time. Russian intelligence asserted that Britain and France recognize there is no prospect of defeating Russia through Ukraine's conventional armed forces. It claimed that equipping Kyiv with a nuclear or radiological device would allow it to seek more favorable terms in any future ceasefire negotiations. The agency added that Germany had declined to participate in what it described as a dangerous venture. It warned that responsibility for any such operation would rest squarely with London and Paris, accusing their leadership of losing touch with reality. Russia's Federation Council has called on the United Nations Security Council and the International Atomic Energy Agency to investigate what it described as the UK and France's intention to supply Ukraine with nuclear explosive devices. The lower house of Russia's parliament, the State Duma, is also expected to consider a formal resolution urging British and French lawmakers to examine the allegations, according to its chairman, Vyacheslav Volodin. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov described the claims as potentially very dangerous, warning that any such move would pose a serious threat to the global nuclear non-proliferation regime. Putin, too, on February 24th, accused Ukraine of trying to sabotage the peace process between the two countries, including by threatening Russian energy pipelines.
We are talking about a possible bombing of our gas systems under the Black Sea, namely the so-called Turk Stream and Blue Stream. They cannot calm down. They are desperate to destroy this peaceful diplomatic process. They are trying to provoke an incident to derail everything that, I'll say carefully, has been achieved on this negotiation track. There are already media reports of their attempts, or rather intentions, to use even some kind of nuclear component. They probably understand what this could lead to.
Ukraine has long maintained that it relinquished the nuclear arsenal it inherited following the collapse of the Soviet Union in exchange for security guarantees that it argues later proved ineffective. Although a significant number of Soviet nuclear weapons were stationed on Ukrainian territory, Kyiv did not retain operational control over them. Meanwhile, Deputy Chairman of Russia's Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, responded to the SVR's claims by warning that any transfer of nuclear weapons or technology to Ukraine would fundamentally alter the situation, and that Russia would use tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine, France, and the UK, should the latter two countries provide Kyiv with nuclear weapons technology. Writing on Telegram, he said,
Russia will not hesitate to use any weapon if Ukraine gets nuclear tech. There can be no shadow of a doubt that in such a scenario, Russia will have to use any type of weapon, including non-strategic nuclear weapons, against targets in Ukraine that pose a threat to our country, and if necessary, against the supplier countries as well, which would become accomplices in a nuclear conflict with Russia.
The allegations, strongly worded statements, and threats mark a further escalation in rhetoric surrounding the war, adding a new and highly sensitive dimension to an already volatile conflict.